So I'm very happy to introduce the next speaker, who is from Paris, from CNAM, le Centre National des Arts et Métiers, Conservatoire National des Arts et Métiers. So we move from English sports to French sports. No, I'm just kidding. So we moved to rugby, and we also change perspectives, since Avner Bar-Hen, our next speaker, is a specialist in statistics. So it's different perspectives from the kind of modeling we've had up to now.
Okay, thanks a lot for this nice organization. I apologize for the English participant for speaking rugby today, but it was like a miracle. It was this kind of condition. So statistics in sport is going back from a long time, probably from baseball, and it's quite a non-story, where Moneyball was a movie about it, where a coach used statistics to do a good team without money. Okay, so statistics in sport is very developed, especially in the US. For example, in the American Statistical Association, there is a section for sports. This work was done in collaboration with Hermes, which is part of INSEP. So I won't develop because I'm not able to do it in English, but mostly it's a research center devoted to to epidemiology and data analysis in the National Sport Institute. For people who don't know what is rugby, I'm going quite fast. If you have questions, do not hesitate. It's a 15 players game, and the aim is to put the ball in the other side and not with foot as some other game. Okay. So if we do a short story of rugby, in fact, it's structured since the 19th century. It's quite a long story, and France played its first international match in 1905. Already against England, but this time they lost. So that was not the same story. But in fact, since 95, you can be paid when you play rugby. So there is a huge change in rugby since it became a professional game. For international matches, we have three kind of matches. We have World Cup, a Six-Nation tournament, as we know now, and international matches. And what you have to know is that we have more and more data on rugby teams as in many sports. So we saw some simulations, but in fact we have a real-time following with data of people. You can see, for example, if you look on TV, when in any sport, for example, football or rugby, when a player is going out of the game, you know how many kilometers he runs. And we know that because every player has the ball, have a GPS in order to follow the games. There is so many monies that you can be sure that you have a lot of data. We have also a lot of individual statistics as well as team statistics. And one thing which is important, because we saw many simulations before, is that all the data are open data. It's very, very easy to scrap the data. Okay, it's almost any people who knows to use the data is able to go in any open data site, like the French Rugby Federation, to get the data. Okay. And almost for any sport, it's quite easy. So the question we try to tackle with INSEP and Hermes was what is the influence of collective experience for players? In fact, if you put, it's quite well known that if you do a team with the best players, it won't do the best team. So how do you choose the players in order to have a collective experience? So the first things we did, we took players from the last games, and we count the number of players among the 15 which are new, or one selection, two selection, and so on. And we try projection techniques. So I won't do a statistics course, but mostly principal component. And in fact, what we do is that we have a huge change. There is a So in fact, you can see very new players players with moderate experience and already experienced player. After 5 selection, in fact, you can define as an experimented players within a team. Okay, and there is a huge gap between 2 and 3 selection. You can also try to see the sum of the experience of the team with the results, and you have a strange results that I would like to comment for very shortly, that more the team is experimented and less the result is good. Why you have that, and it's things which is important in terms of modelization, that when you play for, let's say, a weak team, you favor new players. And if you play against New Zealand or Australia, you hesitate to put non-experimented players. It can be rough. So in terms of modelization, it's quite a counterintuitive result, and it's part of the difficulty of the modelization. There is a huge, for people who play rugby, there is a huge discussion about the halfback, called charnière in French, which is a middle. I won't make the 4 things, but according to the results, there is no particular interest of the experiment of the halfback. It's a very good discussion with the beer. Okay, so the at least in rugby, the most famous matches are not against England but New Zealand. So if you go back to 2007, France won. Sorry. They lost in 2011. If you remember, they crossed the middle of the team of the field, and it was a kind of disaster in 2015. And you can see the difference of motivation between the 2 times. Okay, that's an official picture. If you look at shared selection of the team, you see like from 2000 to 2015, even after, and you have in black the New Zealand and in blue the French. So you can see every 4 years you have the World Cup, and every 4 years mostly with change of coaches. So you can see that here. Shared experience is about the same for France and England, or for France and New Zealand. And if you look the difference of a shared experience in the team between New Zealand and France, it's quite impressive for the last 4 years. I do not have too much time to develop that, but we had a huge work in terms of graph. So here, every point is a player, and we do by 4 years short. So I will show you every 4 years like that. And so what you have here is every point is a player. In red, that's the people who play for the World Cup. And in gray, they are connected if they play a game together within this year. So what you can see in this graph, that among the 4 years, the coach create a team. And in fact, you have almost the final team, some try before the World Cup, but basically, among the 4 years, you see the construction of the team. If you look at the next World Cup, you have about the same. Maybe you see already the team is down, and it was quite okay for France. If you look in 2015, where I show you the disaster with New Zealand, you can see the team. It's absolutely not constructed, and finally they did a team. But you can see even before the World Cup there is a lot of try. So the construction of collective effectiveness is quite important in terms of results. And we had some additional work about group and community within the work, which players is important to work together and so on, but I do not have so much time for presenting you, so thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Any question in the audience?
So, in the criteria that you've selected to describe players, so the motion of players, the position of the players on the field are important, and the interaction between them.
So we do not use motion in that we do not use within game statistics. There is like people following motion within the team, and it's quite important in the following of matches. But in this work, what we use is we use the place. So, for example, if you have a half, or if you have back, or if you have in front, we use that to see which collectiveness is important. Some coaches, for example, take the one which is in front, the all three. Laporte was taking the all three in the same national team.
Props.
The
props. Okay.
The props. Together on the same national team, and we use also which experience is important. For example, we show for the halfback, it's not important, but in fact in the middle rear, the 2-8-15 together experience, shared experience is quite important.
So, okay, thank you.
That was the question?
Yeah.
Another question in the audience?
Thank you. I'm going to say it in French, please. D'un côté, vous dites qu'il faut apporter des nouveaux joueurs non expérimentés pour obtenir des victoires, et d'un autre côté, vous expliquez qu'il faut une équipe bien constituée au fil des ans. Est-ce qu'il n'y a pas une contradiction que vous pourriez expliciter, ou j'ai pas compris?
Alors, do I answer in French or in English?
It's up to you. If you can answer in English, that's fine for everyone.
Okay. I'll try in English. If there is a problem, okay. Okay. Of course, there is a contradiction. Like in every sport, in fact, you would like to have experimented players, but you have to construct experimented players. So what you do generally, if you have non-important matches, for example, non-official matches, are important to construct experiments. If you play against a very strong team, you take less risk. For example, Australia or New Zealand, when they come in France, or when France is going to to South Hemisphere, it's a very strong teams, and in fact, you take a big risk to put a new guy, a newbie, within this kind of teams. Okay, if you play against, let's say, Japan, okay, which is increasing, in fact, for example, in fact, you can take more risk, and it's a good occasion to try new things. Okay, that's also why it's important to, and in fact, you have different kind of matches before the World Cup. For example, you have generally you put your team all together to put shared experiments. If you are a new coach, you will try new players. Some you will keep them. Some you will remove them. Okay. But that's sure that's a contradiction. You would like to have only experienced players. Unfortunately, after a time, they're retired.
Do you want to react, or this is fine? So let's thank the speaker again.